Why in the world is Prince Harry, a British prince, at the USS Arizona in Pearl Harbor, Hawaii for Remembrance Sunday? Hello everyone, welcome to Royal News Network. My name is Brittany, and today we're going to be talking about the very strange appearance of Prince Harry at the USS Arizona Memorial, which is weird. It's very odd. Apparently he was walking around talking to people. And while I understand the interest in going to the USS Arizona, I've been actually there several times, I just think it's weird that Harry, unfortunately, seems absolutely desperate to recapture some of his royal magic. But unfortunately, he is a British royal, and I don't really appreciate a British royal looking for publicity and good PR, trampling on the graves of soldiers. You know what? He did this a couple of years ago, and I feel like this is in a way similar. Although we don't have any official pictures released or anything like that, he was clearly with a military detail. There was a Navy photographer. In addition, he was in a suit. So it's not like he was a tourist and this was part of the tour. No. It looked like a very official engagement. And again, as a British royal, he is not an American. And I feel like this is another attempt by Harry and Meghan to make themselves the Duke and Duchess of America. So they're not just British royals anymore. Oh, no. They want to be the Duke and Duchess of Montecito and the greater United States. Ergo, they just seem to be glomming on to American things. But as an American whose ancestors fought in the Revolutionary War, I will have this to say. We fought a war over this so you would go away. So please, go away. But if you guys haven't been here to Royal News Network before, like I said, my name is Brittany, and I provide compelling royal commentary on the latest news and gossip. So if you guys want to subscribe, that would be great. In addition, I will also be reviewing television shows and movies and sharing a bit of history too. I also have a fashion channel if you want to check that out. Details in the description box down below. And I'm also planning a trip to the UK next year with hopefully a huge group of you. I would love for you to sign up. I will again put details in the description box down below. And I will be doing a specific video at some point just detailing everything I plan on doing and hopefully getting you guys very, very excited for it. But like I said, Harry, the USS Arizona. Golly, him and Meghan cannot leave well enough alone. And I just see this as both a desperate attempt for him to recapture his love of the military and the royal spotlight, in addition to Meghan and Harry trying to create this pseudo weird thing where they are the Duke and Duchess of America, which we did not ask for and we did not want. Because again, a whole war fought over this. So you can go away and be on another continent. That's where we want you. For the most part, we love it when royals come to visit. I enjoy following royals and everything. I just don't want anybody who has this royal title all of a sudden inserting themselves as basically royals representing this country. That's not in the slightest what this country was founded upon. But I feel like Harry and Meghan are being increasingly basically humored by the military establishment. Obviously, they do have the Invictus Games, but I feel like they're being humored, and I'm not laughing. So, if you don't know what the USS Arizona Memorial is, obviously everybody knows about the attack on Pearl Harbor that happened December 7th, 1941. This officially pulled the United States into World War II. It was an attack by the Japanese. So what they had been doing, the United States had been slowly at the time siphoning and cutting off the Japanese from their oil resources. And as the Japanese Imperial Army was invading China and going through basically all the Pacific Islands to Australia, that's how far they were moving, they needed more oil, and the United States shut off that supply. So we knew at some point, the military establishment and the government was well aware at some point we would probably be dragged into the war. But nobody was expecting it to happen on December 7th. And unfortunately, there was a huge part of the Pacific Fleet that was there. I believe they were maybe doing training exercises, or they were just, I think, actually just in general preparing for the inevitable war. They knew it was coming, but everybody was hanging out going, okay, we just don't want this to happen now. So they had the ships in particular in rows. So it was the USS Arizona, the Oklahoma, the Pennsylvania, I think, and West Virginia was one of them too. So there were several ships lined up very close together. In addition, all the planes were wing to wing, and there were just huge swaths of airplanes. So the Japanese, on the morning of Pearl Harbor, bombed, and one of the ships that they hit was the USS Arizona. The USS Arizona had the largest casualties. Of the 2,400 Americans who died that day, almost half of them were from the USS Arizona. And the reason is that the Arizona was struck with a 1,700-pound bomb, and it triggered a massive explosion. It literally lifted the 33,000-ton ship out of the water and killed 1,177 soldiers and Marines instantly. It says, it wasn't the bomb itself that created the giant explosion. It was her own munition, hundreds of thousands of pounds of munition exploding all at the same time. Because of the catastrophic loss of life, they made the decision to leave the Arizona where she rested, which is under about 30 feet of water or so. You can actually see parts of the ship still sticking out of the water, not much, one of the turrets and a couple of other things. And because of the massive amount of oil that was still on the ship at the time, it continues to leak oil to this day. And soldiers who had been part of the Arizona and didn't end up dying in that attack have asked for their remains to be buried with the Arizona with their former service members. So given the solemnness and the loss of life and the terror that many of those people experienced on the ship, now I was wrong because I was thinking initially that the U.S. Arizona did have men trapped in the ship. I swear I heard that, but I was looking it up and I didn't see it. But apparently there were 3 men who they did eventually find trapped inside the USS West Virginia who were still alive and were never rescued. They were there for about 16 days before they died. And they raised the ship about 3 months later. So again, this was a huge, huge event. And it's become very much a memorial, something that people, when they go to Hawaii, it's very much something that people want to see because we hear about it. It was this huge, huge moment in American history, a day which will live in infamy, as FDR said. So why in the world on Remembrance Sunday, which is not our holiday, it's the UK's holiday, really, we celebrate Veterans Day, which is on the 11th. Why is Prince Harry hanging around with Navy officials on a memorial and talking to family members and people around the ship on Veterans Day? To borrow from my British friends, I don't bloody know. I don't bloody know why he is on that ship. What is he doing? What does he think he's doing? And again, I don't mind him visiting as a tourist. Of course, if you go to Pearl Harbor, if Catherine and William ever go to Hawaii, hey, visit the USS Arizona. It's a wonderful moving location. It's a great museum. And sometimes they do have Pearl Harbor survivors there. That's getting less and less frequent, but there are still some. If they're alive, they do come every once in a while to I've met several that you can actually meet at the museum. So what in the world is a British prince doing there in a somewhat official capacity? He has no business being there in an official capacity on Remembrance Sunday, clearly in an attempt to, he's visiting as if he's still royal, as if his royal status, his royal privileges, not only do they matter, but he needs to still get special privileges from my government to do that. People wasted time out of their day to walk him around that, to give him a tour. For what purpose? Because every time we've seen Harry and Meghan go to something like this, it has a self-fulfilling purpose. They're doing it to improve their own image, adjust their own image, to bring about some good PR. Well, we'll go here, we'll go there. I mean, just go back 2 years ago, Remembrance Sunday, Harry and Meghan traipsing on the graves of our service members here in the United States for a photo op with a fashion photographer. Like, have you lost your ever-loving mind? You had no business doing that, shutting down a cemetery so you could have a photo op. And I feel like we don't know the circumstances surrounding it. It could have been totally part of some sort of tour, but again, he's in a suit. He's not in tourist clothes. Are Meghan and the rest of the kids on the island somewhere? I mean, they could be, but I'm wondering, a lot of people are suggesting separation. I'm wondering maybe if some of that is happening behind the scenes. So I may try to do a two-for video this evening discussing that, because I do think it's rather interesting, because we don't see them together much anymore. We really don't. It's a little odd. But I feel like there's two things we can glean here. Number one, Prince Harry still misses his royal status. He misses his time with the military. He misses being able to represent his country. Well, Harry, guess what? That was your choice, but you don't get to substitute my country in for you. And we saw this as well in Archwell for Veterans Day. They actually put a picture of Harry and Meghan with American troops, not British troops. Again, Harry is British. He is a British veteran. Have some self-respect for yourself and your country. But no, he has the American flag and the Marine Corps flag, and they were at an event at the Invictus Games. And I'm like, do you not have a picture of yourself with British troops? I mean, you would think if you're British that would be a bit of a requirement. But apparently it was not. And again, it just feels like Harry is desperate to recapture this royal magic. He misses his royal duties. And that was his choice. But again, that could be part of the tension we're seeing between Harry and Meghan, and maybe that perhaps the lack of separation. As all of a sudden he's realizing after his mother's death, hey, I really liked this stuff. It wasn't easy, it wasn't always fun, but I felt a personal sense of fulfillment from it, which I don't think he's getting from what him and Meghan are doing. Because honestly, Hollywood is vain and vapid. Most of the people there are vain and vapid. And if you want to hang around with troops, with service members, you don't go to Montecito, California. You stay in the UK, you go to a place where there's a military base nearby. For example, San Diego. I still don't understand why Harry and Meghan, except for the fact that Meghan wanted this, they could live in California, but hey, why not get a place in San Diego? It's better. I feel like I like San Diego better than Los Angeles to a certain extent. But once again, it feels like it's all turning back, going back to fulfilling Meghan's dream instead of Harry's. And once you lose a family member, especially two in rather quick succession. So we had Prince Philip die, and then a little over a year later, the Queen died. That really shifts your perspectives. And I think Harry is realizing that, hey, you know what, this military stuff, it was important to me. I really did like this. And I don't feel like I'm getting as much enjoyment out of the Invictus Games and going to these producer meetings as I do when I'm with service members. And I understand that, Harry. Hey, bravo, that is great. However, again, don't do it on my memorials. If you want to co-opt a memorial for yourself, you need to go back to your country. You need to go back to your country and do that. Do not substitute my country's memorials to our dead soldiers so that you can have some self-fulfillment. You need to go back to Britain. Go back to your country where you feel the most connected. I get it, it's not here. Although Hawaii is a wonderful place to visit. Absolutely no doubt about that. I feel like it's this obsession that Harry's getting that is really, I think, damaging. He wants to do all these things, but doesn't understand once you leave the monarchy, you can't do it anymore. In addition, I feel like Harry and Meghan, especially Meghan, she sees herself as an American Duchess. Literally, that she is the Duchess of America. Not that she happens to be a Duchess living in America. No. She's an American Duchess. And because of that, she's been able to get Harry to believe, I think, that he's a Duke of America. Apparently somebody was saying in one of their Spotify things or something that he's developing a bit of an American accent. And it's like, wow, you're going full steam on this, buddy. And I understand that to a certain extent, but have some respect for your own country. And honestly, again, we had a whole war about this. This was settled over 250 years ago now, Harry, or about 250 years ago. This was settled. This was completely and utterly settled. The only one who doesn't seem to think that is you. And that's starting to become a bit of a problem because I don't mind Harry and Meghan going to some place like the USS Arizona Memorial. What I have an issue with is my military taking time out of their day to humor a listless prince. That's what I have an issue with. I don't mind Meghan voting. What I have an issue with is her telling other people to go vote when we clearly know what party she wants us to vote for. In addition, she's telling people to give her their information basically via a third-party app so that she and this other organization can help people find their voting locations. And as we know, Meghan is a staunch Democrat. I have no doubt that the organization she's sending people to, the organization she's getting people on a list of, is somehow connected to the Democratic Party. And that, again, is a huge, huge no-no. There's hardly anything that when it comes to voting that I feel like is strictly nonpartisan. Some things say they are, but I feel like inevitably whoever is at the upper echelon, they want people to vote a particular way. And again, Meghan is one of those people, she's very much believes her own BS, and she's very much a very strong supporter of the Democratic Party. And hey, that's her prerogative as a private citizen. But she has no business doing that publicly. And it just feels like more and more Harry and Meghan really want to establish themselves as these American royals. They're doing that event at the Robert F. Kennedy Center. And what's really funny is that one of his children go, I don't know why they're getting this award. They don't deserve it. And I think again goes to show that Harry and Meghan are very much have lost their footing. They needed to come to this country, which was fine. I have no business with them living here, working here, but they needed to sever the ties of royalty and actually be producers. They need to actually produce content. The problem with Harry and Meghan is that they don't have an idea of what they want to do without the monarchy. Harry is clueless, and I feel like Meghan still wants to be a Hollywood star, and she's using the influence of royalty to try and sort of get that done. But again, I feel like it's something that's falling increasingly flat. Everybody knows these moves by now. These aren't a surprise. And it just feels again like a desperate attempt of two people who just thought that everything would go their way and don't know what to do, since the monarchy said, well, no, you can't have your half-out thing you wanted. No, you can't walk around calling yourself His or Her Royal Highness the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. You can use the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, but not in that official way. And I think they're finding this all much, much harder than they initially anticipated. And I think that could be why too. And again, hopefully video part 2 today, we'll see. We're going to try our darndest. That Harry and Meghan are perhaps starting to drift further and further apart. And I would not be surprised in the slightest if within a year or so, perhaps there is a official public separation or even divorce. Because again, grief can put a lot of things into perspective. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you really enjoyed it. Please feel free to subscribe if you haven't already. I would love to have you back, and I look forward to seeing you again very, very soon. Bye.